All right, if you want to give a 1 minute warning, let folks know we'll restart in 1 minute.
Okay, are you ready right now?
Yeah, yes, but for the public, just
Okay.
let them know.
For sportsmen tuned in today, we have about a 1 minute warning before we resume our general session. So you might take your seat if you have one and get ready for us to finish the general session in about 1 minute. Still got Morgan out. Can you all hear me? Everybody hearing okay? I think we're going to suggest to Ms. Morgan that she get Mr. Morgan a watch for Christmas. See how that goes over.
Hey, right on time. He knew his
There he
minute.
comes. There he comes. Okay, so we've got everybody now back.
I got my second win.
Yeah, well, you need to get you a new watch for Christmas.
Well, my bladder don't have a watch.
We'll just get a shot collar that we can activate remotely.
I thought that's what Commissioner Fisher wanted from me after he told me the other day to expedite the process of this meeting as quickly as I could. So I knew I was in jeopardy. I thought I'd better behave today.
Well, it has not worked.
Well, I haven't been the holdup. I'll go back. We can watch the tape and see who held this up. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that you're one of them, Commissioner. Okay, so tell me when I can go back. Watch. He's grinning.
You ready, sir?
Okay, are we ready?
Yes.
The Kentucky Department of Fish and Wildlife Commission is resuming its general session after coming out of executive session about land acquisition projects. The first order of business will be the discussion of properties A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. There are 7 properties over which we have made discussions, and the chair will entertain a motion for approval to move forward with those projects or to do as the commission pleases. Commission?
I'll make a motion to approve those projects.
We have a motion from Commissioner Fisher to approve moving forward the first 7 land acquisition projects that were discussed today. Is there a second? Second by Mr. Morgan. So the question to the commission is, for the first 7 land acquisition projects that were discussed, you all are ready to move those forward with the department. All those in favor of that?
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Chairman, before you take a vote, could I say something?
Yes, sir.
These all sound like great acquisitions. And the fact that it's philo money and it's not coming from the department is great. But I have 3 WMAs here that have roads that are damn near impassable. And well, that's just what I wanted to say before, and they need to be fixed.
Yes, sir.
And I just wanted to say that before you took a vote.
So you're going on the record, you want to go on the record as saying your WMAs are in need of repair and you're
Yes, sir.
concerned about the acquisition of new properties.
Yes, sir. I sure am.
That is duly noted. That's duly noted in the record. And I think, thank you, Mr. Jones. I think Mr. Knott also has something he wants to say.
I just want to concur with Mr. Jones. I was down there and drove over those properties within the last couple of weeks, and his assessment of the situation is absolutely correct.
And as Mr. Jones and I have had previous conversations, I have kind of referred him immediately to Chris Garland to discuss those very issues. And I guess if need be, I don't know that Tony Wheatley has anything to do with that or can help out with that situation or answer some of those questions, but it's duly noted on the record that both of you have made your concerns about the WMAs known prior to acquisition of other properties. And I would say that we need to discuss that further with both the deputy commissioner and with Chris Garland. Any other comments before we take a vote? All those in favor of accepting for moving forward with projects A through G, please signify by raising your hand. And those opposed, raise your hand. Thank you, gentlemen. We have one opposition. Motion carries on project H, the last of the projects that were presented. Is there any discussion about those or any motions want to be made on project H? H as in Henry.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we accept project H.
We have a motion from Ken Knott to accept that project and move it forward with the department. Is there a second to that one? Seconded by Mr. Lear. Any discussion? All in favor of moving forward project H, please signify by raising your hand. Motion carries unanimously. That motion is also in effect.
Mr. Chairman, I got a question. We don't use FILO money to repair roads in the WMAs, do we?
No, sir, it's a good question, and given the scope of FILO budget or available funds, that's been a common question in the past among commission members, understandably. But no, sir, that has to be, the FILO funds have to be spent strictly on FILO projects and within the service areas that those funds are raised or contributed through in lieu of mitigation or in lieu of direct mitigation.
Good. Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
could, after the river went down after being up so long here last year, the county got a ton of money to fix roads in the river bottoms from FEMA. Is there any way we could get any of that? Or is it possible? I don't know, it may be past the deadline now.
Commissioner.
We will check on that. I'm not familiar with that, but we'll absolutely check on it.
I know the county down here put off fixing the roads for a long time after the water went down. And then they jumped in there and dumped lots of good rock on it and took care of most of the problems on the county roads.
Again, I encourage you to keep in communication with the commissioner and with Chris Garland and see what you can get done there. John.
Hey,
Yes, sir.
Doug, or David, on that one, can you email
Yes.
Doug the issues and where you're seeing them too? Because that would be something good to add to the WMA working group for us to know more about your issues in your area.
Did you get that, David? Did you get what he said there?
I'm not
Yes.
sure what you said, Brian.
To have David get you those areas for the WMA working group, that way we can concentrate on some of those issues as well.
I'd
mean,
be
if-
more happy to.
Yeah.
Okay. Is that discussion complete?
Yeah.
Update on commission bylaws. First of all, I want to remind everybody, especially the new guys, that we've been dealing with this issue for about 6 or 8 months. And I want to thank Stephen. Is Stephen Fields here? I don't see Stephen, but I'm sure that
I'm here.
There he is. I want to thank him for helping us with this project. Actually, this started with Dr. Carlos, who took old, and I mean old, some of them I believe were so outdated that the last administration really didn't give much credence to them then, and helped us with, Mr. Fields has helped us revamp those, take a lot of excessive verbiage out, check a bunch of laws and make sure that we were on track of everything. It's kind of our operations manual, a self-operating manual of how we conduct the commission. And Mr. Fields has been real instrumental in helping us look through all the legal aspect of those and reducing the number of pages. And Dr. Carlos, in his tenure, also helped greatly, and followed by Mr. Morgan, who I think has finished up the last details. So we want to update the commission bylaws and maybe vote on the acceptance of those bylaws. But before we do, I know there was one question from Mr. Jones that he wanted to ask Stephen and Ms. Cronin maybe about changing a word or two to make it a little bit more explanatory in part of this bylaw. So, Mr. Jones, do you want to ask Mr. Stephen about that portion? Have you got a copy, Stephen, of the bylaws?
I can pull it up here.
Okay.
It is under the meetings part of it. It's about the conducting special call meetings. It says the chair and consent of at least 4 members. Why is it just 4? Should it not be more than that? Or are you just trying to get a quorum?
That would achieve a quorum if you have the chair plus 4 members. So that would be enough to.
Does this mean that you're going to stop it when you get 4, or?
In other words, I think the concern, Stephen, was that the implication might be that the chairman or someone from the department calls first 4 guys, they say they can all attend the meeting, and then doesn't call the other guys to see if they want to attend, and they didn't even know it was happening. So I think word-wise, can we change that to say, after an attempt has been made to call all the members of the commission or however, and then at least 4 of them, plus the chairman, have to be present at the meeting, just so it does not look like we're eliminating the other 4 members of the commission from being contacted. Is that right, Mr. Jones? Isn't that what?
Yes, sir.
So do you follow that reasoning?
I apologize. I don't have them committed to memory at this point, and I hadn't looked at this.
Let me see if I can help. To call a special meeting, this is just the number of people needed to call the special meeting.
Right.
To have a special meeting, you have to give 24 hours notice.
Right.
And so all the members would be notified of the meeting.
Okay.
But this just means that in order to call a special meeting, the chair would need to have at least 4 members available to agree that a special meeting is needed. Does that?
Okay.
I think that helps.
That's
you, but
good enough.
When he talked to me the other night about it, I think the concern was, is somebody only gonna call up until they've got enough for the meeting, and then the other guys don't even know the meeting was gonna occur? So
No, under the Open Meetings Act, you have to give 24 hours notice of any special meeting.
there we go. And so you'd have 24 hours, Mr. Jones, in order to notify all the members. And then
Okay.
we've got to have at least 5 before the meeting
Right.
is carried on. Does that make you feel better about how that?
Well, I understand that. I would just wanted to question that.
Okay, well, I'll see as long as my tenure goes that we call everybody's notified. Any questions or anything about the bylaws that Stephen has helped us revamp? Go ahead, Mr. Fisher.
Question for Stephen. I know at one point, I think it was the bylaws that specifically prevented a commissioner from applying for an elk tag or anything like that. Is that correct?
I believe there was something in the old standing orders that did prohibit that.
And I do not see anything like that in place right now.
There is nothing in the bylaws in place. I did not make any substantive changes to the bylaws presented by Dr. Carlos. Any changes I made were just for legal aspects. So that would be something the commission would need to address if they wanted to make some sort of change to the ones that have been presented prior to the meeting.
May I respond to?
Yes, ma'am.
Brian, if you look at the ethics portion of it, we have a site there to the Kentucky ethics opinions, and those would cover that situation, right, Stephen? I mean, we talked about that when we were going through and revising it, or not?
I believe that would cover any special privilege, but any just a application, I'm not aware. I would have to research that. I don't want to speak out of turn. I apologize without having it directly in front of me or something.
Yeah, I mean, you could certainly add that in there if you wanted to. Stephen's right. You could add in a specific prohibition if that's what the commission wants. But we felt that the ethics was at least what people need to know about and comply with. And if you take a look at those, it does help. I don't know that the ethics laws, though, prevent you from securing an elk tag. Probably not. Stephen, do you have any thought on that?
I don't think they prohibit someone from participating the same way as any member of the Commonwealth would be able to, or any other out-of-state person with the out-of-state application. The key being any appearance of impropriety is the issue that you need to be concerned with more so than anything else.
I think that's
Commissioner, how long ago did the department switch to having an outside agency be hired to do the drawing, to get it out of the department? Do you know how many years ago that was?
Probably 5 or 6 years. The Commonwealth Office of Technology, the state's IT agency, performs the drawing. The department collects the applications, and then basically their
They're out.
identities are scrubbed off of those, and then they're shipped out to the Commonwealth Office of Technology. They perform the drawing, and then they send the results back to us. We just match up people's identity with their number, their customer number or a unique number, and then announce the results. Or actually now they're announced before we have them.
So, yeah,
So-
before you, so how many years
Yeah.
ago was that? do you
I'm
think?
gonna say it's about 6 years ago.
So Ms. Cronin, are you still there? She is. You moved over in the corner now. So Ms. Cronin, I think some of that evolved from many years past. There was some question with sportsmen, and I was one of them, who worried about the drawing mechanism, or was it done in-house, or how could that possibly be any nefarious activity? And now with this outside agency, which we pay a pretty good penny to do the drawing, it's electronic and completely out of the department's hands. So I think that eliminated some of that worry. Kenny, did you say something? Or are
Well,
you laughing, Kenny?
Mr. Chairman, can I say something?
Hang on one second. I want to see if, did you have something, Ken, not to say?
Not really. Other words, the main thing here is ethics and how it looks to the public. If one of us ends up with an elk tag, that's not going to probably, even though nothing's wrong, it's done with an outside agency. It's not going to bode well with the public. And for something as high profile as an elk tag, I just would not apply if I sat on this commission myself personally. Some of the other stuff that doesn't matter where about everybody gets one is not an issue, but such as high profile thing as that, that's just a personal opinion. But I don't think anything's done wrong as long as it's took care of by an outside agency.
Mr. Swallows?
Yeah, I'm in the same camp as Commissioner Knott on that, as far as an elk tag is concerned. But my question is, these bylaws are currently on the website and have been there for, 2 weeks now?
Yes.
Right, they've been out for 2 weeks. So they've been available to the public. And in reading that and looking at them, it didn't occur to me about the elk tag because I thought that would be off limits anyway.
Okay.
Just from previous experience and how I've come on.
Chairman, I'll just make one more statement. I think perception is 9/10 of reality, regardless of who does the draw. If one of us were to get an elk tag, the perception is going to not look good, and it basically violate bullet point number 1 under ethics, which is seek to advance the mission of the department. I don't think a commissioner could get an elk tag and it be advancing the mission of the department. So I was just throwing that out as a logical path of thinking. So.
Any other comments before I ask for?
I have one.
Okay, I do. For some reason, I knew you would, Mr. Morgan.
Well, I've never applied for an elk tag and don't plan on applying for an elk tag. But if I did, I don't see anything wrong with me applying for anything. Anybody that works for the Department of Fish and Wildlife, including the employees that work with the elk program, can apply for an elk tag. The guy that knows where the tracking collars is can apply for an elk tag. And to say that we can't is implying that we would do something wrong. And the provision in those bylaws says if any person on this commission uses our seat to get an advantage over a sportsman, we have committed an ethics violation. These bylaws have never said that. I have never seen a set that said that. That covers everything. And if we do something wrong, we're accountable. But to just pick up some arbitrary thing, what if one of us got a goose blind? Or, I mean, you can't go through and name everything that we can't do, but you can say we have to be ethical, which is the approach that the state legislature uses, the governor uses, everybody uses. So I don't see a problem with it at all.
Other comments? So, floor is open for any motions to be made concerning our printed out copy of the bylaws that have been posted for 2 weeks. I
Mr.
can't
Chairman,
hear you, Doug, you turned yourself off, Doug.
I
Mr.
make a
Chairman,
motion, we accept them as written.
Okay. Go ahead, Kenny. I'm afraid that you were trying to talk, and he was trying to talk. Go ahead, Kenny. Kenny,
I
no.
believe Mr. Morgan made the motion to accept them as read, and I will second that motion.
Okay, I have a motion that has been seconded to accept the posted bylaws as they're written and have been posted on the website without any changes. Any discussion on that? All in favor, please raise your hand. Hang on. Help me count these. 1, 2,
Just point of order, you need 2/3 vote.
right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. I got 5. You have 5, but Brian.
Yes, sir. It looks like 2, looks like 5 hands that I can see.
5. So we have to have 2/3 vote on the bylaws?
So you need 6.
We have the chairman's vote.
Yes, I vote affirmative that we do that. I can vote. I can vote to change to a 2/3 majority according to Robert's Rules of Order. So I vote to accept them as written. So the motion carries by 2/3 majority. Any other questions about that? And if we need to rewrite those at some time or another, we can amend them or rewrite them. Because we've been fooling with this issue for about 6 months, and I've seen it enough. So, and I thank you, Steve, for helping with doing that. Okay, we will have one other issue on action items today, and that's election of officers. So we can do that however you want. We'll start with whichever end of that ticket that you want. We can start with secretary on up, or we can start with chairman on down. What would be the pleasure of the commission? I think the pleasure of the commission is go home. Doug, if you're talking, we cannot hear you.
I have that rarely said to me.
I can see your lips moving though, believe me. I see it moving.
I make a motion that we start from the top down, and I would nominate Carl Kleiner for chairman.
Okay, we have one nomination, and if that pleases the rest, we'll start with move from top down. Floor is still open for nominations. Floor is open for nominations. Should I give you a minute? No more nominations. Nobody's moving. Nobody's saying anything. Then if we have only one nomination and no other nominations by acclamation.
Do you want to do a show? Do you want to do show?
You want to do a show of hands? You want to vote, or you want some abstinences? All in favor, please raise your hand. All abstaining or negative, raise your hand. Motion carries. Thank you, gentlemen. Second for vice president. Vice president, listen to that. I've still got the Trump thing going here. For vice chairman. Nominations for vice chairman.
I nominate Paul Horn.
I have a nomination, Paul Horn. Other nominations from the floor. Other nominations? Nominations cease by acclamation again, but we'll do show of hands. All in favor of Paul Horn being vice chairman? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, Motion carries. Congratulations, Paul. Floor is open for nomination for secretary.
Mr. Chairman, doesn't Brian Fisher hold that office?
Brian Fisher holds that office as of today.
I would nominate him to keep that office.
You would nominate Brian Fisher. And did somebody nominate Sarah Cronin? Did I hear Sarah Cronin? Oh, no, I'm sorry. She doesn't want it. She's already declined the nomination. So I have one nomination thus far. The floor is open for further nominations. Then again, by acclamation, if we had no other appointments, except let's go by show of hands. Let's see a show of hands, all in favor of Mr. Fisher being secretary. Again, that motion carries also. Is there any further business before the commission?
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
Chairman Kleiner.
Hang on, I've got the commissioner here.
Stephen, you and I may have been on the same wavelength here, but I was going to take opportunity to introduce a familiar face to
Oh, yes.
many of us who have been with the department for approaching 20 years or longer. And that's a new attorney who's serving with the department again. And welcome Scott Porter, who was formerly our general counsel and now is an attorney specifically working for us on the FELO, or Stream and Wetland Mitigation Program. So he is helping us with a monumental task of moving projects that are in this dedicated funding, restricted funding program from inception or concept through to completion. And there are a lot of legal challenges with that. So Scott, thank you very much for your efforts.
Can we blow up his picture for the public to see?
Yes, I will attempt to, if I can, spotlight him.
So if the public can see that shining countenance here, I'd like to get that picture a little larger.
Yes.
Ms. Cronin is smiling. Maybe we need to blow hers up too. We'll blow hers up there.
We're very happy to have Scott join the legal team.
Yes,
He's a huge asset. He has a wealth of knowledge about FELO and just the department in general.
That's a nice thing to say. There you go, Scott.
Thank you. I'm really glad to be back out. Since practicing since 1988, the best 13 years of my legal career were with the department, and I can't think of a better agency and state government to be part of.
Well, that's a grand testimonial. Now that with Ms. Cronin saying what she did, you need to go back and ask for a little raise now, because she's kind of bumped you up there. So.
I'm just happy for the 15th and 30th. That's all the raise I need.
That sounds good.
Very good. Thank you, Scott. Welcome aboard.
Yes.
Thanks. Glad to be
That's all
back.
I have, Chairman.
Thank you, Scott. Any other business to conduct today?
That sound like
Chairman, I had one.
Stephen.
I am somewhat concerned on the voting for the bylaws and the chair's ability to break a tie versus a 2/3 vote. If we take a brief recess, I might be able to look at it.
Yes, I believe I can. When the chair's vote affects the result of the counted vote, says the chair votes in the affirmative, making it if an affirmative and in the negative. So there are 2/3 of the affirmative motion are adopted. Chair votes in the negative, making. So if you have to have a 2/3, I believe you can vote if it makes a difference in it being a 2/3 majority or not, or if it breaks a tie. I think there are two situations, but if you want to take a break and check that, but I believe it says that if there is a possibility of gaining or diminishing a 2/3 majority, the chairman can vote, or if it's in a tie breaking. You can sure look that up, though. We'll give you that few minutes to look that up.
I would appreciate it to avoid any issues for the next meeting.
Yes, sir. Oh, no, I appreciate you doing that. We can take that. We've been at it all day. We can take that extra time so we don't have to revisit that issue. So
All right, I need to go get my Robert's rules. I'll be back in a bit.
Certainly. I'll see if I can find that.
I'm having pie and coffee. Does anybody else want some?
I'll take the pie. You can have the coffee. I need to take a nap.
Don't have to rub it in.
Okay, let's see. I was trying to find standing order of business. Breaking a tie or 2/3. Sure.
Hey, Brian, Kenny said he got knocked off and was waiting for somebody to let him in, I think.
Okay, thank you. And you thought it was Kenny? Was it Kenny that got knocked off?
Yeah. I don't know if he's having issues on his.
He could be. I don't see him in the attendees list. He may be maybe trying to connect back up.
I guess Stephen has the full book, doesn't he? Not this abbreviated book.
He should.
Robert
He should.
rules.
He
He's
should have
probably
it.
got the big book.
He should have this one as well. Okay, this is in brief, but he may have the expanded as well.
So, Ms. Cronin, do you have to have a 2/3 majority when you're dealing with an internal, or I don't know what to call that? You know, it's usually
Bylaws. It's the bylaws.
For-
Because it's a
because it's the
bylaw
bylaws.
situation that requires 2/3.
I thought that I had remembered reading that, of course, to break a tie, especially for a small group, not a large group, for less than 12 or something in a group, for breaking a tie, there's no doubt. But I thought if it made the difference between it being a 2/3 majority where needed, or in other words, if it only made a difference in a majority, the vote wouldn't make any difference. But if it's for a 2/3, it could go either way. I thought that.
Yeah, we're looking at that, and it makes sense to me. But I think we should look at it.
Yeah, we'll
Steven's
do
on
it
the
either
phone.
way. And if,
Talk to him.
and if that be the case, then what would our next step be? That we would nullify that vote and then have to it'd be tabled, or that would be defeated, right? That motion would be defeated if you had to have 6 of the 9 and I couldn't vote.
Yeah, that's right. You could, it could be tabled. Someone else could make a count, an alternative motion.
Yeah, but that means we'd have to defeat that that motion would be dead on the table.
It would be 2/3 of 8 if you don't have a chairman, because the chairman makes 9. So it'd be.
That's right. That's why I thought that the chairman could make a 2/3 majority vote, or he could break a tie.
Steven's gonna get on. I think you might be right. So hold on one sec. He's gonna get on and read the section.
All right. Sorry for the delay. I apologize. I'm going to
It's well
make
worth
sure
the
nobody
wait.
questioned it later.
For us to conduct this right, it's well worth the wait.
Okay. On the full version of Robert's rules,
Yes, sir.
first vote as part of the announcement. The chair protects his impartial position by exercising his voting right only when his vote would affect the outcome, in which case he can either vote and thereby change the result, or he can abstain. So it goes on to talk about it, but you do have the ability as whenever it would affect the outcome. So for a 2/3 vote, you're permitted to vote. So I apologize for bringing up the issue at all. I just wanted to make sure we.
No need to apologize. That's exactly what we have. That's what we have you all for. What did you say, Mr. Fisher?
I said I'd rather get it right than wrong.
That's exactly right. So it's worth the wait to get a legal opinion on it. Is there any other business to be conducted before the commission today? I will exercise or I will acknowledge I'm so tired now, I'm about run out. I will acknowledge any motions at this time about adjournment.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn. Mr. Morgan, I'm a little disappointed. Mr.
Watch the hands up for a second.
And you have let Paul second it, Mr. Morgan. You are a little tired. All in favor of dismissal today, please acknowledge by raising your hand. Look at all those hands go up. I'm having no trouble with that vote today. Meeting is dismissed. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a nice weekend, everybody.
Thanks, Stephen. Thanks, Commissioner.
Bye, everybody.
Josh, Robbie, David, thanks a lot, guys. See ya.
Y'all have a good weekend.
Yeah.
God bless each and every one of us.
I'm sorry.
I said, God bless each and every one of us.
Yes, sir. That we need that. All of us need that. I need a double dose.
All right, just need to.
$4.20.
All right.
We don't need these meetings this long, Commissioner.
No, sir. We need to.
We
And I think moving towards the 2-year rotation at a minimum on regulations will definitely help us. It may take us a little bit of time to get there. So I think we just
all
need,
them off you.